Dry bulk foods to buy to prepare for an emergency before the food buying panic begins. This is about you being prepared with simple and nutritional foods that you can actually eat. Hey, some people are going to call this prepping. I just call it common sense. Being prepared, being happy.
Live happy, fun-loving, and carefree.
One of my favorite go-to sayings is, eat food as close to its natural source as possible. For example, it's better to eat an apple than a slice of apple pie. Sorry. When thinking about what foods to buy in bulk, what dry foods to buy, think about your grandparents and your great-grandparents and what they ate, what they really ate way back then. Hey, they didn't go out for fast food. And they didn't have refrigeration back then. It didn't really exist. They might have had coolers or what they called iceboxes with a big old block of ice in it to keep their food cold. They certainly didn't have freezers. Food storage had to be stable on shelves and not spoil. Your grandparents and your great-grandparents, hey, they didn't eat fancy foods. They ate unsophisticated, plain, simple food. Like apples. In a long-term emergency situation, the foods that you are eating today probably won't even be available. I mean, already in the current supply chain situation and the inflation that we're having, many of the foods that we buy at the store when we go shopping are already not available. And the thing is, if you think about it, what you are eating today probably isn't going to cut it in an emergency situation. You need to be eating apples and not a slice of apple pie. In a survival mode, you know, you're going to be far more active. You're going to be performing tasks, lots of manual tasks, exerting more energy. So you're going to want to be storing up simple energy foods with lots of protein and lots of good old calories to fuel your body. Today, we're going to be focusing on dry bulk foods. Foods that are easy to find, foods that are more or less inexpensive, I hope, and foods that have a ridiculously long shelf life, things that last pretty much forever. With some surprising, important details you're going to want to stick around for and not miss. Okay, so what are we talking about? It's food that you can actually eat long term. You know, in fact, it's probably foods that you should be eating right now anyway. I'm serious. Something that you're going to want to stock up on, and this is probably one of those things that are going to surprise you because it's easy to overlook when you're, doing all your making food plans and everything, is salt, pepper, dried herbs, and spices, lots of spices, because these things have a super long shelf life. They're easy to store, don't take up much room, and they're going to add flavor to your meals, make things a little different for you. Honey, real, natural, genuine honey. It's important, it has many uses, and basically, honey lasts forever. I mean, like it never ever goes bad. Yeah, it crystallizes, but you can still use it. And it doesn't, it's not bad when it's crystallized. A quick mention, include a big old bottle of multivitamins. Make sense? Vitamins are good for you. All right, so things are pretty simple, really. We want to focus on bulk dried foods, things that'll nearly last forever, their shelf life. Making the primary bulk dried food that you're going to want to purchase is beans. Beans are packed with important nutrients. Beans are an amazing source of protein. And beans have a super long shelf life. I mean, basically, they have an indefinite shelf life if you store them right. So the number one thing that you're going to want to purchase for your dry goods are beans. Beans! Rice is the second part of the formula. But there's something important that It's probably going to surprise you. This is one of those surprising things. Brown rice can only be stored for about 6 months. It easily spoils. So white and jasmine rice, they have an indefinite, last forever kind of shelf life. Rice doesn't have a lot of nutrients in it, but it's a good source of calories and carbohydrates. Basically, it fills you up. Now, interestingly, we like quinoa. It's a cool food. It's actually a seed. It's not a true grain. We eat quinoa just like you eat rice. It's super nutritious and a great source of protein. And because it's so packed full of nutrients, quinoa is considered a good choice for a gluten-free, healthy diet. So you can still be healthy. So about right now, you're probably thinking, sure, the best thing to do is buy the right foods, buy all the items that I should myself, put everything together in storage containers. We're using 5-gallon food-grade buckets to store all of our dry bulk emergency foods. How about just buying pre-packaged survival food kits from someone? You know, you're probably thinking, hey, why can't I just go to Amazon or wherever and just buy a month's or year's worth of good old survival food? Easy peasy, spend some money, nothing to it. And it's true, they have super long shelf lives. My opinion, you're going to be paying a crazy amount of money, and they put all kinds of weird, strange things in there that you're probably never going to use. If you're determined to be purchasing some prepackaged survival food kits, yeah, go ahead. Maybe buy a couple of kits just to have, like just in case. Because in my opinion, this is about preparing with foods that you're actually going to want to eat. And those things, those kits, they're expensive. Crazy guineas. Canned goods are simple to stock up on. Most everything comes in a can, vegetables, fruits, meats. Canned foods, they'll add a little bit of variety to your beans and rice. Don't want to get bored, even though you're surviving. Check the expiration dates on those things. And an interesting fact, canned meats like canned chicken and canned tuna have a way longer shelf life than vegetables and fruits. I was kind of surprised at that. When stored properly, you're looking at about 2 years for fruits and vegetables and up to 5 years for meats. So stock up on those canned chickens and canned tunas and good old canned Spam. Yep, Spam. We had Spam a lot when I was a kid. Sliced it up and fried it and put some mustard on it. Yum, 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 yum. You can do this. You can be food prepared with simple, unsophisticated, nutritional foods. Foods that are easy for you to go out and purchase and store with a long shelf life. And most important, it's foods that you're actually going to want to eat. You living your happy life today. Because when everything around you goes to crap and goes wrong, you're going to be food prepared. Live happy, live fun loving, and live carefree. Freedom! Eat your apples!